Fresh into high school, tomboy Tomo has just confessed her love to childhood friend June, but it doesn't go as planned. June thinks just saying she loves him as a friend because she's one of the guys, one of the homies, you know how it is. And Tomo resigns that he'll never see her as a potential love interest, leading to a slew of comedic situations in which Tomo's friends try to help her change June's perspective. Sounds like a cute rom-com setup, right? Yes, but there's one problem. To me, at least, I think that the romance between June and Tomo is just a little bit boring. Welcome anime friends, if you're new here, hi, my name is Phoenix and I dive into the world of visual storytelling in anime and sometimes manga. You guys may not care about that because I said that your possibly favorite show of the season may be boring, but hear me out, I'll have some good things to say about it as well. Anywho, today we're going to be diving into the newest tomboy romance sensation, Tomo-chan is a Girl, and discussing some of the great aspects about it, its characters, and talking about my muddied feelings about the actual romance for the series. Before we begin, as always, make sure to grab your cup, whatever cup you have, you can get this cup in the description below. Get ready to spill the anime tea. Cheers. I also have matcha tea today. That was a cup of water. I'm just letting y'all know now so y'all don't think I'm a super tea addict. So I'm gonna start with the good because there are some really good aspects in this series that deserve recognition, and I'm about to give it its flowers, give it its props. Especially because when I saw the visual for the series and when I heard about it, I was almost 90% sure it was going to be an ecchi series on the cusp of some My Dress Up Darling-ish or something similar. But watching the first 5 episodes, I was thoroughly surprised that the fan service is actually not very prominent in the series. Again, very surprising, especially since I looked into the background of where the series came from. And the creator of the series is actually a mostly doujinshi artist. This is actually their first non-work. For that all being the case, it is a fairly decent series. Let me know, I could be just ignoring the fan service because I've seen many an anime in my time. So if I am ignoring it and you think that the fan service is actually pretty bad in the show, please let me know in the comments below. But for the most part, I think it's pretty tame in comparison to some other series. Maybe My Dress Up Darling just completely skewed my thoughts of ecchi series. On the other hand, I think that the strength of the show actually lies in the main female characters, which is something rare to say for, like, I don't know if this is technically a shonen rom-com series because I don't know if it was published in a shonen magazine, but for this type of series, which feels similar to lots of shonen series that are shonen rom-coms that are similar, I'm actually surprised that most of the interest is given to the girl characters and their group dynamic, as well as just focusing almost entirely on Tomo's perspective rather than Junichiro's. Like, we never get to know what June is thinking. Everything we see and learn about him is kind of through the perspective of Tomo. We don't really know who he is on the inside. But let's talk about the girls. First up, let's talk about Tomo, you know, our titular character. Not literally, though, you know, that's often a joke in the show. She is the rambunctious tomboy character with red hair, who I love red hair characters, so they tend to be like the overly loud, rambunctious type, but they also tend to be kind of some of the sweeter characters as well, and Tomo definitely fits into that category. She's a tomboy, she's confident in her tomboy personality and things like that, but she does want to appear more feminine to the person that she is interested in because, you know, she doesn't just want to be seen as one of the guys. She has a crush on this dude. She's a little rough around the edges, but she has a sweetheart. She's like a sweetheart at her core who really is just trying her best, and I love that. Next up is her best friend Misuzu, who is fantastic. Misuzu reminds me of Hanajima from Fruits Basket. Some of the scenes with her are with these little waves and she's like being menacing and stuff, and I get those same vibes. I also like Misuzu because she's the type of character who will just tell it like it is. There's a good dynamic between her and Tomo because Tomo's a rambunctious, overthinking, talking loudly type of character. Misuzu's the more like calm, focused. She will tell you things how they are with a straight face, even if they are hard to swallow sometimes. We all need a friend like Misuzu who will just tell it like it is and be straight with us and honest. And on the last note of like female characters, there's not a huge cast of characters in the show, which I actually enjoy because I can keep up with the names of them. Lastly is Carol. So Carol's supposed to be the type of character that you're supposed to hate automatically because she seems like the main rival in the love triangle that usually happens in these types of romance comedy situations. However, that's not the case. What actually ends up happening, a little bit of spoilers for people who may have not watched the series yet, the girls quickly become friends after some misunderstandings get resolved, and the dynamic gets even funnier from there. Carol is also the airheaded bubbly type. She literally reminds me of Bubbles from Powerpuff Girls. This is the airheaded blonde, essentially. And all the boys fawn after her because she's cute, innocent. I love that they gave her a little bit of a dynamic with her not really making friends because, you know, she's the elusive, pretty girl type that people don't really want to make friends with because everyone's either jealous of her or wants to get with her. In actuality, she's just kind of a derp, but in the best way. Like, she's a derp, but she does understand things that she says or does may not be right. Like, she has hindsight. Besides just the three of these girls individually, what really makes the show stand out is actually their dynamics and relationships with one another. Like I said, Misuzu keeps Tomo grounded and trying to help her kind of get out of her comfort zone and try some new things. Additionally, Carol is like the bubbly, erratic, chaotic type almost, where she'll just like insert herself into certain situations or just do certain things, and that will help kind of push Tomo to try something else as well. Like, one time she just takes off her headband in this like dramatic crowning event and puts it on to Tomo, and it's hilarious. I like seeing these girls kind of figure out high school together. There's actually some pretty decent lessons in the series that are introduced right from the beginning. Like, for example, Tomo, in the first episode, she's trying to ask people around her what she can change about herself so that June can see her as a girl. Some of her friends, I think Misuzu's like, well, you should act more girly, but her senpai, I think, from Karate Club is like, no, just be yourself. Like, it's fine, don't try to change yourself for someone else. If they like you, they like you. And for the most part, Tomo embodies that. She's not trying to change too much about herself. She does try things, which is fine, just to get out of her comfort zone, which leads to some funny comedic moments between them. But for the most part, she tends to resort back to her natural style, her natural way of handling herself and holding herself and being her loud, erratic, ready to fight at a moment's notice type of person. My issues with the romance in Tomo-chan is a girl. It's not even that there's really an issue between June and Tomo's relationship. It's just that the story is mostly focusing on Tomo and her friends, and it kind of feels like a slice of life coming of age story with a romance in the background but not at the center, which I don't actually mind. I think that's perfectly fine. Gives me a little bit of, like, you know, cute girls doing cute things but with a romantic interest in there. I'm sure as the series progresses, they're probably going to focus more on June and Tomo's relationship, but now at the beginning, they're really diving in on Tomo's friend groups and introducing us to all of them and how their dynamics play off of, you know, Tomo trying to get June's attention and stuff. But also, in June and Tomo's relationship, it doesn't really feel like they have a lot of chemistry. They are at each other's necks all the time. They're always fighting in the street, which is a common trope in lots of anime when it comes to romance. This one's actually valid because they're both in karate and they fight all the time anyway, literally, like in the dojo, so it's not that weird that they're fighting all the time. It does kind of fall into that old trope of characters not really being able to express themselves fully without literally beating each other up. And it's like, okay, people can communicate without having to act violent. Like, it's fine. We can just show these two characters actually having a conversation at some point. The chemistry between them is kind of weird. They have a lot of interests in common, which outdoorsy stuff, and she also likes to do that. So that's cool. They're also both in karate. They have lots of similarities. But beyond that, it doesn't get much deeper. Like, I don't know what else is going on between them. What does June have to offer? I don't really know at this point, besides him just like existing and being friends with her. Kind of important predictions for the series already based off of what we were given about the characters that may change the perspective I have on the series if it does end up going this way. But the first thing is that Misuzu, Tomo's best friend, actually has a crush on Tomo, as insinuated by a couple of scenes where Misuzu like gets jealous that Carol is hugging Tomo and Misuzu, and then Tomo didn't hug Misuzu, and other kind of physical contact moments and things said between them. And if that does end up being a plot point, I hope it's done respectfully and kind of just, even if it's just to explore like Misuzu's sexuality a little bit and doesn't actually end up in a relationship between her and Tomo. I think that's a valid thing to show, and it would be nice. And then my other prediction is that June obviously knows that Tomo's a girl and he does see her as a girl, which is the problem because oftentimes when she's doing more girly feminine things, he gets upset because it messes with his idea of like how he perceives Tomo. That's valid. Like, it's okay that he's unsure how to feel about someone who he saw a certain way for his whole life, and now he's having to perceive a different way because things are changing, Tomo's changing. There's one part where they're on the train and Tomo gets assaulted, which unfortunately is pretty common in a lot of anime. Anyway, Jun steps in, helps, and confronts the guy and stuff. But afterwards, when Tomo's thanking Jun, he's like, well, if you didn't wear a skirt, then we wouldn't have had this problem in the first place, or some imbecile shit like that. And I was pissed. I was like, Tomo, find a new man. Jun ain't it. After that, though, he does apologize for saying that. And there's often times where he says some dumb shit and then he apologizes for it after he and Tomo kind of have a conversation, but the conversation usually takes place after Tomo beats them up. So I don't know how their conversations really go. I think it's fine that we explore Jun like trying to come to terms with Tomo actually being a girl as the episodes progress, and I like that they subtly add that in there each episode, even though, like I said, Jun mostly kind of feels like a sideline character when it comes to like these other characters. A problem to me that's like a little bit petty is that it's not a shoujo series, and that's perfectly fine. I think there's lots of really great romance series that aren't shoujo or josei. Like I said before in my other videos, I like lots of like seinen and shonen romances as well. But it's like, if this show can exist without really providing anything new to the genre, like this type of subtrope has existed for a while in shoujo anime series that are pretty well known already, like Ouran High School Host Club with its main character, Haruhi, and even with Maid-sama, that kind of type of dynamic, but they still get their romantic endings essentially, has already existed, and there's more series that exist like that. So on one hand, it's like, okay, whatever, this series got an anime adaptation, it looks really good, and it's pretty decent, but what about these other series? And it could be that, you know, because the series is out and does pretty well, we'll get more shoujo series that are similar. Stumbled upon one called Urawashi no Yoi no Suki in the Clear Moonlit Dusk by Mika Yamamori. It has fairly good reviews, at least on my anime list, but it also has a similar story about a girl who looks boyish, acts boyish, and is even nicknamed like Prince, but gets some attention from another prince at the school, and a boy, possibly have a romantic relationship. So if we can get series like Tomo-chan as a girl, why can't we get series like In the Clear Moonlit Dusk, animated as well? That's all I'm hoping for. Anywho, that's all I have to say. Hopefully Tomo-chan fans don't hate me. I still really like the show as it is. Just the romance that's lacking right now, but that could change. Let me know your thoughts about Tomo-chan Is a Girl, or any other romance series coming out this season, or that, you know, you think is similar to this series, and let's discuss it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Redheaded characters are the best, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.